The NFL season's here. FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with can't-miss offers. Right now, new customers can bet $5, and if that $5 bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So get ready to play. If you want to get in on the action, just download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com/UCSS to get started. That is FanDuel.com/UCSS to place your first $5 bet. Send us your winning tickets and continue to make sure FanDuel stays America's #1 sportsbook. Shotgun reaction, guys. We'll go around the horn. Jason, let's start with you on this one. Your big takeaway, your instant takeaway from the Browns' 17-16 loss to the Bengals in Week 1.
Well, my instant takeaway was I thought it was appropriate that a fan threw a Buzz Pleasure Palace onto the field because no team in the NFL likes to screw themselves better than the Cleveland Browns.
Now, does our audience know what you're talking about?
Oh, they know.
I'm sure
Did they
everybody
show
knows.
it on TV? I never saw it on TV.
I mean, the word spread on social media enough that I think.
We think that because we see social media, 80% of Americans see 0 tweets every day.
Oh, they know.
So,
they know.
Okay.
And when it happened, it was laying in the end zone or near the goal line.
No one
I don't
wanted
think
to
I
touch
can.
it.
Can I use the actual word of what it
Why
is?
not?
It's not yeah.
Okay, all right. So it's laying there on the field, and Zach Jackson, of course, is sitting next to me. And he goes, "There's a flag on the play." And he goes, and I thought the same thing. I'm like, it's a little off-colored for being a penalty flag. He goes, well, it's either a flag or a green dildo. I'm not sure. And I laughed. And he goes, no, I'm serious. And I said, no, I know you are. And then, like, the official picked it up, like, raw dogged it, barehanded, picked it up, threw it off the field. I'm like, my Lord, I can't believe you. How did you get that in here? How did they sneak that in? That's what I want to know. Where'd you hide it? Where'd you hide it to bring it into the stadium?
It's funny, but also the people that do these things are such losers.
It's funny.
Well, the trend is carried over from the WNBA.
Yeah.
Now into the NFL.
Well, I think it's egregious in the
Get used to it.
WNBA.
You're going to see a lot more of it.
It's just ridiculous.
All right, I don't want to sidetrack. I just thought that was a funny way to start.
It was funny.
It was a good way to start.
Stupid also.
I mean, listen, the Browns, I wrote this morning that they know how to carve out the organs of their fan base with a blowtorch and rusty pliers.
Yep.
And the kicker this week happened to be the surgeon scrubbing in, and he's all thumbs. Andre Schmidt, the poor guy. We'll get to him in a minute.
Oh.
Jay, I'm in agreement with you. Yes, the ending is terrible. It was awful. Another painful, gutting loss. But if you're going to judge this team on playoffs or bust, if you're going to judge this team on did they win or lose the game, you're in for a very long season because this is not a good football team. But if you're looking for the fact that this is year one of a 2-year cleanse of the roster, of the salary cap, of all that stuff, if you see what they did on the defensive line, that was incredible. The second half of the defensive line play was as good as you're going to see in the NFL. If you look at the fact that the operation was clean on the offensive side, there were things to build on off of this. And yes, I know all about you don't care about moral victories. It's Cleveland. I get it. This is the reality of the situation where they're at, guys. Deshaun wrecked the entire organization, and you have to start over. That's just the reality of where they are. And if you go from that lens, I thought there was a lot of things that you hoped you thought were true this preseason that turned out to be true in Week 1.
Yeah.
Gee.
Disagrees with me.
This is whack as hell. And I don't know if I can say the H word. I mean, you know, I go back and look, and I looked at the stats, and I'm looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm looking at them from '96, and I could count how many times on their hand that they've gone under 5 wins. I believe it's 4 in almost 30 years, right? The Cleveland Browns, I would get that it would be cool if this was a, you know, hey, we're going to cleanse this of 2 years, but we've been cleansing this from everybody that's been in the organization. And I'm really tired of cleansing, man. I did my facial treatment last night. I don't want to cleanse. Like, in the reality,
You better get used to it this year.
Man, now, listen, well, if I'm going to get used to it, I don't want the people that's getting used to it coaching and being a general manager here.
Ooh, interesting.
Nah, it shouldn't be interesting.
Either one?
Either one or both of them.
So they both should go.
But well, here's what I'm saying. We've been here doing the same thing, and we're going to sit here and do the moral victory thing again. We had 3 wins last year. This game was a winnable football game. Very winnable, right? Mm-hmm. The Bengals played like dog crap. The Bengals played around the whole doggone game. They didn't have no offensive kick. The defense was so-so. It was nothing to write home about the Cincinnati Bengals. We talked about them having a high-powered offense, and the defense came out, and Myles Garrett dominated up front. Matter of fact, I want to just throw a PSA. if we want to talk about Myles Garrett's speeding tickets, I'll pay him for them. We're not talking about that no more. Matter of fact, leadership is what Myles Garrett did when you needed 2.5 sacks in a couple of seconds. That is leadership. Play on the field. He keeps showing up. I don't care how many trades he requests. If I can get 75 other guys that request trades and play like that, I'll take it. Besides that, guys are dropping the football. We could talk about the kicker, but Jerry Jeudy dropped the football. This wasn't Joe Flacco. If you tuned in to hear G. Bush give you, it was, let's do the quarterback thing. We blaming Flacco. No. Flacco played well. The balls hit you in the hand. You got to catch the ball, Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman. But what's the consequences? They still going to play because the roster is garbage at receiver. I come in here every year and people say I'm the Duke and knee-jerk because I want more than one receiver that can catch the ball. When you don't get them, you get 50-50 balls that get tapped in the air because guess what? They're not prime-time receivers. This is what happens. So you get interceptions, and then here's my thing too. No, I'm not going to say poor guy was listen, this is the NFL. This is not MAC football. This is not JV football on a Tuesday.
Shout out to OU, by the way.
Shout out to OU who got a win, by the way. That's the only thing I had looking forward to this weekend. But guess what? If you can't, I'm asking. I'm going to throw the question out, and it's a running poll. Why the hell can't you find no kicker? I'm talking about basic 31, 32-yard field goals, chip shots, high school stuff. You can't find a kicker, right? You can't find receivers, right? But I'm supposed to sit here and think you're going to find a quarterback? You couldn't find a receiver, a kicker for 4 years. You keep getting them. You don't know who to put in. And we can't complete regular kicks to win football games. This was one of the most winnable games on your schedule. You gave it away like it was nothing. You know who you got next week? The Ravens. You think they're going to look like this? Go back and watch those other teams. Go back and watch how the Chargers looked in week freaking 1. They were hitting on all cylinders. And we got to warm our way up to being 0-8. That's crazy to me. We're looking good. Hey, Dylan Sampson caught a couple dump-off passes. No, we keep losing these games despite who we got on the roster, despite who we draft. We find new ways to win. My question is, we going to keep talking about, this is a progress or how many draft picks we got? Because our quarterback being in 26 don't help. None of that we just talked about right here. If Shedeur Sanders was playing, guess what? Balls will still be dropping off people's helmets. If Dylan Gabriel was playing, what changes this outcome if any one of those guys are playing? Nothing. There were winnable plays, and again, Cleveland Browns decided that they were going to do it, down their leg and hand it away. Now, let's see how many more games that the other opponent gives you a football game this year. The schedule don't look like it's going to happen. No, I'm tired of it. No, I don't want to see it. They blew another game away for no reason.
I must be getting more patient and mature in my 60s because that was me at 4:15 yesterday. It really was. I was furious. It was similar to the Jets game a number of years ago.
That was inexcusable and atrocious.
The Jets?
Yes.
Yes, it was. But to me, yesterday was too. So there's, multiple things can be true at the same time. I'm very angry, but I'm also slightly encouraged. Not for this year, not for making the playoffs. Here's why I'm encouraged. Despite the fact that our general manager has been derelict of duty, who leads the team in scoring every year in the NFL? Who are the leading scorers in the NFL?
Kickers.
Okay. Take everything else off the table. His dereliction of duty and his inability to bring in a kicker that can give the team stability at that position is cause for termination in my eyes. It is the leading scorer of every team. How many games have the Cleveland Browns lost in his tenure because of missed extra points or field goals? I know guys miss. Atlanta missed a big one yesterday. There were big misses last night in the unbelievable game of the year already. It's going to happen. But while that is true to me, Andrew Berry's inability to bring in wide receivers and kickers, those are two of the most important positions on a football team. He has proven he is absolutely, here's how incapable he was, guys. The Bills get an injury to their kicker. When they showed Matt Prater on the sidelines yesterday, I literally thought to myself, how did that dude get out of the stands and onto the sidelines? Because it was a tight shot of his face. And I'm like, that guy's on the sidelines. And it turns out that guy kicked the game-winning field goal at 41 years old. I looked at the waiver wire today. I looked at available kickers. 4 of them are guys the Browns have had on their roster. Zane Gonzalez.
Greg Joseph,
Seibert. Cade York. It's littered with guys that Andrew Berry once upon a time thought, yeah, this guy can kick. You better figure that position out. Because from now on, I'm not blaming the kicker. That guy was overwhelmed. He shouldn't have been in that position.
He didn't walk in and say, give me a job. You said, hey, let me call you up and bring you in.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling to me. Now, all of that's to me my big takeaway from, like, yes, the wide receivers turn completions into interceptions. Proving once again that the interception stat is one of the most misleading in sports. I think there should be 3 columns for an interception. That's another discussion.
That's
Neither
why
of
we have
those run
PFF
Joe.
grades, Jay, which you hate.
What's that?
That's why we have PFF grades.
No, I know, but that factors in one part of it.
Most generic stats are misleading.
Yes.
Can be misleading.
In general, you can spin stats
Yeah,
however
yeah.
you want. Those interception stats, those are not on Joe. Those are on receivers. My headline Friday was, this was my headline, help wanted. Wide receivers and running back supply. I've been saying all offseason, guys, who are our players? Who's our best player was a rookie. Our best player was a rookie, and he had a drop. I can excuse him for a drop. It was his first day as a professional football player. Cedric Tillman, I can't excuse. I can't excuse your drops. I can't excuse Jerry Jeudy's drops. I can't. Joe Flacco at 40 years old played exactly how I thought he would. He managed the game. He didn't throw the ball downfield. He made good decisions. He threw the ball on time. He threw it on target. His guys let him down. All of that out of the way, there were a million silver linings to me yesterday. I had said also Friday, I think this might be Andrew Berry's best draft class. It's pointing in that direction. I thought the kids played very well. I thought Sampson, I thought he was going to be just a guy, to be honest. When I look at Andrew Berry's draft class, I look at Judkins as the guy that's going to be the stalwart, and I still think he will. But turns out Sampson's more than just a guy. I know you'd rather be the Cincinnati Bengals waking up this morning. I get that. I get that. You'd rather be the Bills over the Ravens.
Team, any other team, any of them.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Ravens are waking up this morning feeling pretty black and blue. They gave up 18 points in 4 minutes.
Josh Allen.
Yeah.
That's not no harm, no foul.
But here's now to that point, what the Browns did to the Bengals offense, which I think is going to be one of the most prolific offenses in the NFL this year, what they did to them puts me back in the 2023 mindset with this defense. This defense is good, guys. If they can stay healthy, this defense is a good defense. I don't know that they're going to be top 5. I think they're going to be top 10. They held, I think, one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league to 110 passing yards? They had 140 total yards of offense. The Browns doubled their offense, and they still couldn't find a way to win the game. I think that reverts back to culture. Bad teams find ways to lose those games. Good teams find ways to win those games. But overall, looking forward, yes, our first 6 games are brutal. But the way they played the Bengals gives me hope that there are some silver linings here. Myles Garrett, another one of my big storylines for the season, he's going to break his own single-season sack record. I stand by that. I think he's going to. The guy's a man among boys. He's unstoppable. And in the big situations yesterday, he stood up and did exactly what we wanted him to do. The wide receivers failed us, and the kicker failed us. Other than that, we beat the Cincinnati Bengals yesterday, or should have. We beat ourselves. But we were the better team yesterday, and I think anybody that objectively watched that football game understands that.
So, once again, this comes down to heart versus head, right? I understand where G. Bush is coming from. As a fan, I'm sick. As a Browns fan, I'm sick of hearing about, look at that promise. Yeah. Look at this promise. We're in good shape for next year. You've
heard it for 25 years?
We've heard it for 45 years. Since Bernie Kosar, that's all fans have heard. Next year, next year, next year, next year. That sucks.
Yeah.
That doesn't make you feel any better
really
when you hand a game away. Yeah. The Browns were by far the better team on the field, especially in the second half. The first half was pretty even. Yeah. The second half, the Browns completely dominated the game.
Did they have a first down in the second half?
I don't
had
think
one.
so.
They had
had one?
7 yards in the second half. 7 net yards.
It was unbelievable.
And they lost.
And here's the thing. If they had won that game, then we're spending time, it's like all about Myles, because Myles Garrett took over the game. Because in the first half, you forget it because the Browns were so dominant in the second half. In the first half, the Bengals scored 2 touchdowns on 3 drives.
Yeah.
So they were moving the ball, right? The pass rush was a non-factor. I don't think Joe Burrow got touched in the first half of the game.
He wasn't even pressured.
Mason Graham was getting pushed around early.
Mason Graham was getting pushed around early in the game.
Yes, but I did think he held his
Late
own
in the
later.
game, he was a dude.
I thought so too. I
in the
thought so
second-
too.
In the second half of the game, in the first half of the game, I didn't mention Myles Garrett once. Didn't mention Carson Schlesinger once. Didn't mention Mason. The only time we mentioned Mason Graham is when he blew that tackle on when Chase Brown broke out of his tackle.
Yeah.
In the second half, especially Schlesinger and Myles Garrett were on. I felt like one of them made a play on every single play.
Agreed.
Schlesinger was fantastic.
That's
in the
one of the
second half.
reasons I have excitement moving forward.
And Myles Garrett was just incredible. I even think the rest of you are overstating the negative of the wide receivers. Maybe I'm wrong here, and I know I'm in the minority. Jerry Jeudy, it is what it is. He had some bad drops. I actually thought it was a problem.
He led the league in drops last year. That's why to me, if he didn't, okay, they're one-offs. But this is a trend. This is who he is. He's your wide receiver 1.
Guys drop passes sometimes. It happens. I don't think Cedric Tillman. I thought it was a promising game for Cedric Tillman. So I thought that was promising. I thought there was certainly some promising stuff for Dylan Sampson. I mean, he only averaged 2 yards a carry, so I don't want to.
I liked him out of the backfield. I mean, catching passes out of the backfield.
You don't want to go over the top. Listen, one thing also is, and fans do this, and I've already heard some comments to this that I think are happening already. We overreact to week 1, good or bad.
Always.
The New Orleans Saints, after 2 weeks last year, were the best team in football. They had outscored their opponents like 90-15, and then they were one of the worst teams in football.
They lost their quarterback too.
What quarterback?
Didn't Carr start the first 2 games for them last year and get hurt?
I don't know. It's not like he's any good.
It matters. I mean,
it's not like he's any good.
Well, they
right, I
were
wanna get
good with him the
sidetracked.
first 2 weeks.
Let me just finish.
They were good with him the first 2 weeks.
So you can't overreact to what you see in week 1. But I do think, while, yes, in the end they lost, and that's ultimately all that matters, and I can understand why you get frustrated when a lot of members of the media consistently say, oh, the wins don't matter. And I've said it myself. The wins don't matter. Yeah, in a perfect world, the Browns played well and lost, so it gets them closer to a higher draft pick. But G is ultimately right. I don't have any faith, even though it looks promising what Andrew Berry's done this year. I don't have any faith that he's going to get it right at quarterback in the draft, or that he's overall going to draft well enough. A couple of right picks, or at least we think they're right picks, it's based on one game, doesn't mean Andrew Berry's going to get it right. And again, the objective should always be to win football games, and ultimately they didn't. It comes down to one guy, yes, pretty much. For the Jeudy drop on 4th down. By the way, the Fannin drop on 3rd down, that was on Flacco. That was not on Fannin.
Well, listen,
to me, Flacco wasn't perfect. He played okay, but
not that he went to my high school.
Yeah.
I thought Fannin played well.
he was great.
Fannin was great.
He played well.
He was the offensive silver lining.
If you ask him, he'll probably say he needed to catch it. Where I'm talking about the drops is the 4th down drop by Jerry Jeudy on a slant.
That was
pattern
terrible. Right in his hands. Right in his stomach. You have to make that play. I hear you.
Yep.
You have to make that play. But ultimately, if Schmidt makes his kicks, they win the football game. End of story. It's that simple.
All I ask is just do one or the other. If they catch the football, they win the game.
Yeah.
If they just make the kicks,
well,
they win the game.
we don't know they win the game if they catch the football.
On the
interceptions,
drives were stopping because they were dropping
But those
football.
interceptions, those were lucky plays. The Bengals made a nice play catching the ball.
Here's why I don't
Hit
believe
both of them in their hands.
Here's what I don't believe, because like I've been saying, we've been making a lucky play excuse for 45 years. It's 40 years of the Browns doing exactly what they did on that football field.
That's
and by
fair.
the way, we're not angry about the 0-1. We're angry about 3-15 in the last 18 games.
I get
That's
it.
what I'm.
And the Browns are what, 4-22 opening days since coming back in '99. So this idea that it's hard to sell, even though we can use our brains and say, there were some real positives from young players in this game. But it's hard to sell that to fans when all they do is lose. So why am I going to believe this is going to lead to something down the line
I'll tell you
when
why.
it never has in the past?
Because all losses are not created equal. I expected they'd get run off the field yesterday. Bull, I picked 27 to 10.
I did too, and I was
thought
impressed.
They would get run off the field. And you know what I saw in the second half? I saw the same look on Taylor and Burrow's face that we've seen over the last 5 years when they come in here. They were confused.
Jay, but ultimately they've won 5 of their last 6 against the Browns. It doesn't matter. They won the game.
I get that.
Yeah.
But here's what I'm saying. There's levels of hope. If it was 32-3, I have no hope.
Jay,
The way they played the Bengals yesterday gives me hope that they're going to steal a win or two over these next 5 games that everybody's got checked
but
with
Jay,
losses.
if they finish 4-13 this year, are you going to feel good about the Week 1 loss to the Bengals? No, you're not going to care. You're not going to remember it.
Well, I think me more than anyone on this panel has been pushing back on the narrative from Jay and others that we're not going to win. We're just not. I hate losing more than I love winning, and I love to win. But the fact of the matter is, we knew this was not a good football team coming into this year. We knew that.
And why?
The roster is poorly constructed.
And why did we know? This is my thing. These guys are not showing up and saying, I'm going to play for the Cleveland Browns. There's a person responsible for getting players.
Yes.
And he's not doing a good enough job.
And that's why I led with the Andrew Berry point. Andrew Berry's a very nice man, I'm sure. But we have our heads in the sand. If anyone can sit here and say he has done an adequate job. When he came here, this organization was ranked 13th by one metric. Now they're ranked 31st. He's had 5, 6 drafts, whatever it is.
Ranked 13th?
But Mike gave us a stat in a show. You might not have been here, Bull.
It was the PFF roster.
PFF gave the roster rankings. Every year they do it. When he came in here, they were ranked 13th.
Yeah, but last year I think they were ranked 13th also, or 2 years ago.
Look, they are what they are. Last year we know what they were.
All right, but I'm just...
So here's my point.
Now, Andrew Berry's done a bad job, but I don't think they were very good when he took over.
I'm just telling you where at one point they were 13th when he took over.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
He's got a blind spot, and his blind spot is at wide receiver and kicker.